So I'm going to have a bit of a rant this morning. I'm not quite sure where it's going to go, but it's just something on my mind, which is that astrology is not an intellectual game, and nor is Buddhism. That's something else in my background too. It was Buddhism being treated as an intellectual game. It made me ill by the time I got to my mid-30s, and I didn't understand why. Because I can do the whole intellectual thing quite easily. Um, but I get bored of it. I can only do it so far. And the cat has just walked up to the door and is putting me off. So I'm just going to let him in. Come on, cat, in you come. And then I'll continue with my thing. Because, and I'll turn the fire off as well because it's getting too hot. We had snow here, but I'm in my flow, so I'm just going to keep going. Because if I try and repeat it, it won't be the same. And because these things are important, and that's why I try and keep astrology simple. Astrology, it can be so complex. And that can be both on the one hand intimidating. Yeah, oh God, you've got to know so much to be an astrologer. But it also becomes a refuge for people. It makes them think they know something because they've got all this head knowledge. You've got this image or saying in Buddhism, which is dragon's head, snake's tail, or snake's body. And that sums it up, like this giant head, but it's not embodied. Yeah, but it thinks it knows everything. Intellectual pride. That's one of the besetting sins of our times, yeah, is that we think we know things. We think we have real knowledge because we have intellectual knowledge. And of course we know the difference and we'll all claim we know the difference. But actually, when it comes to it, we do the same thing. And the reason this rant has come to me is because of my Buddhist days in my 20s and 30s that I had to find my way out of. It was a particular form of Buddhism, so I'm not necessarily criticizing Buddhism generally, but actually I will, because I've looked around other traditions and, okay, the meditation ones, based ones, not so much, but a lot of them, they have all these books and books and books. Yeah. And it's the same thing. So, yeah, and what prompted it was people I used to know on Facebook going on and on about impermanence, yeah, or some other teaching, and going on for pages as though being as clear as possible at length in the most boring sort of way, yeah, it constitutes something, and it doesn't. All it does, it gets you up there. And I see the same in astrology. It's like, I see these academic papers, in cultural astronomy and astrology. It's like, who's ever going to read them? Yeah, it's like, yeah, okay, they do have some value. I don't want to take away from that. But here's an example. I wrote a book on astrology and someone offered to have a look through it for me. And what they did is they started saying, well, you can't say that because you have to quote an authority at the bottom of the page. It has to be William Lilly or Ficino. Say who said that. That's your authority. I said, but I'm my authority. I said it. What's the problem? I said it. Yeah. This is how fire works. This is how water works. This is how air works. So, no. You need to quote Ficino or something. It's like, well, I don't know what bloody Ficino said. I could look it up. I'm good at learning all that sort of stuff. But actually, I know these things. I know them in my body, on my pulses. Yeah? I've spent time with them over years. And they're simple. Fire, earth, air, and water. Sun, rail, soil, and wind. Get it even more immediate. Get it even closer to experience. We need to get these things close to experience rather than retreat. Yeah. And part of it is, where's your source of authority? Yeah. Is it in what other people have said? Yeah. Or is it what something in you says? Yeah. The fire element. Is that because of what Ficino said? Or is that because you know what fire is? You know what that sense of excitement, that sense of possibility about the future, yeah, that sense of new life that's always coming into you, that's fire. And that's something you feel. And so when you talk about the fire element, yeah, you might want Ficino as backup, okay, or what, whoever, yeah, but really you're talking from that. You're talking from your own sense of of that life that keeps that new life that keeps bubbling up. That's how it works. And so I'm the same with our astrology readings. It's like, let's keep it simple, the sun and the moon. Yeah. Because when you're doing astrology, you're not searching through your data bank for what these symbols mean. Yeah. You know all of that. Yeah. I know all of that. Of course, I know all of that. It's not that difficult. Yeah. It's like a GCSE or something. But really, you have to have the moon there, the sun there in you. And it's like it's as if they're speaking through you. It's like that. You need to feel that presence. That's what astrology really is. It's feeling these presences and having them speak through you. And that's where the magic is. That's when the other person feels that jolt. Yeah? That's when it's like, how could you have known that? Yeah. Well, I didn't. The universe did it. It's just come through me. Yeah. But that's the magic. It may not tell them anything they don't know about themselves already, but it's the universe saying it. So they know they need to pay attention to that particular bit of themselves. And also, they feel known, they feel seen, they feel loved by this universe that loves us. Because this is the ultimate sign of Pisces, you see, which is that connectedness to everything. That is the astrological journey. We're beginning with this naive Aries, and we're going all the way around to Pisces that is connected to everything. And always was. When you die, you become everything because you always were everything. Well, I don't know what happens when we die, but you know what I mean. And so that's part of what the astrology chart does. It's Pisces. It it it's we're connected to everything. The chart, of course, is also Aries because it's about beginnings. Yeah, the chart is taken from the beginning of something, but in the beginning is the end. Pisces, everything connected to everything. Gosh, I've never had that thought before. It's great, isn't it? When you start going on these things, thoughts come to you. Yeah, and yeah, coming back to your source of authority, that is the big step. That is the big confidence step, and often it's incremental. It's not all at once. And of course, we all think I'm my own person. I've got my own understanding, but actually, it rests on those who've come before. It rests on the ancestral inheritance, if you like, or the tradition. And that's fair enough. That's where we need to start. And then occasionally, we peer over the edge and it's like, there's the void. Can I leap into the void on my own? Bit by bit, we do. If you do readings, you suddenly find, oh, I didn't think of that. Something came through me. You probably find that quite a lot. And that's what astrology is really about. I remember someone who was running a course in astrology, and it's all about astrology. What so-and-so said, the cultural significance of astrology. And it's like, fair enough. That area is really interesting. It's really good to get to know all that. It's really good to get to know the tradition. It feeds us. Don't let me sound like I'm dissing it. I'm not. It's good to know all this stuff. It's good to read around it. It's good to be cultured. It's good not to just know astrology, but to read novels, the great novels, philosophy, all these things. So you have context, so you have depth. But it comes down to the knowledge astrology itself gives you. And I asked this guy, I said, but what is the status of astrology itself? Does it give you knowledge? And he wouldn't answer that question. Yeah. He veered around it, this, that, and the other. And it's like, no. Astrology is a non-rational means of knowledge that is not valued in our rational scientific culture. Yeah, it's like it's put over there as a kind of anomaly, and we can make it look respectable by talking about how ancient the tradition is. But ultimately, it comes back to that willingness to kind of throw caution to the wind, jump in there, and see what speaks through you. It's not an intellectual thing. Okay, rant over.